This video is going to discuss the MoSCoW technique, and it's one of the techniques which I go over at the end of the course normally because I want to make sure that we finish the complete cycle from PG Express before I start giving extra information. So, MoSCoW is a prioritization technique. What is MoSCoW? Well, that's what I've just said. A prioritization technique used to detect the value of each requirement. So our user comes with the requirement and we have a better way of detecting the value of this requirement, so we know whether it should go in the project or whether we should never do this requirement. Okay, so let me show you how this works and what it is. So it's broken up into MSCW, so must. That's the M. It's a necessary requirement for the solution to function. Okay, so otherwise the shipped product will not work. The items, all the features in it are must have. Great. The next is should have. So a high priority requirement that also has a good return on investment. Okay, so we might spend, let's say, 500 euro doing it, but we can get back 10,000 euro in the first year, something like that. Okay. Then we have could have. Desirable, but not really necessary. Could sound really cool, but does it really have a business value? No, it's much, much lower. Okay, but a lot of these things can get put in and they should not be put in as a requirement. And then we have one tab for now, requirements that are again probably cool, but are not really needed. So we write them down, but we mark them as a W, so they have very, very low priority. Okay, so the best way to explain this is an example. Now, but first, big question, why I'm showing you MoSCoW. Now, I'm going to bring it back to that diagram I showed you much earlier in the course. And remember when we try to figure out all the requirements up front and we ship a product, what we're going to deliver is a product with features, and 45% of these will never be used, 19% rarely, okay? And it's these ones over here are the more important ones. So by using MoSCoW, we're able to identify the always, often, and sometimes much quicker. We also identify these, but then we give them a lower priority, so hopefully we don't do them, and we stop someplace around here. Okay, so this is probably must have and should have are up to about here, and then could have are over here, and won't have are over here. Okay, that's a good way to actually see it. Great, so let me show you how this works. So suppose if somebody comes to you and they go, hey, I got this requirement or this idea for the project, and you ask them, how important is your requirement? They're going to say, very important. So this is a bad question. We need better questions to ask. And wouldn't it be great if I could give you better questions, and then you could use those and to just ask the user, and then the answer for the user would directly give you the information on what priority it has. Fantastic, eh? Okay, so let me share that with you. So the first question is, can the project product work without this requirement? So let's say that Elon Musk is making a new car and someone says, hey, what about door mirrors? Do we need them or not? Okay, so let's look at that. Do we need door mirrors on a new Tesla? Can the users use the car without the door mirrors? And the answer is new cars need door mirrors because it's a law. So we cannot sell the cars in the US or other countries if they don't have a door mirror. So door mirrors are a must. Okay, that's how we see it. Good. You got the hang of that, I think. Next one then. Does this requirement have a big effect on the business value? So let's say that they want to put in, let's say, airco. Now, you can imagine airco will probably cost maybe about, let's say, 500 euro, $500 to put into the car. But if they don't put airco in, maybe only 10% of the people will buy it. So we need airco in the car. Okay, so if it's yes, then it's a should have, and if it's no, it could have. The no could be like a big electronic Bose system which costs maybe 2,000 euro, but you will not be able to charge the 2,000 euro to clients because they won't pay for it. A normal stereo system will be fine. Okay, so the high-end value where you have a good business case would be should have, and a lower business value will be could have. And then can this requirement wait and there's no business value? Well, then any other fancy thing that people never use that is in a car, then that could be here. Okay, good. So that gives you an idea. So the most important questions are the two first ones. Can the project work without this requirement? And does it have a requirement, or does it have a big business case or good feedback on the business case? Okay, and that means you get your must and your should. Right, now let me give you more examples here, and because we have a good example laid out. So we're going to create a new CRM application, so a sales application. It's for a company called bwatch.be in Belgium, and they wish to develop a new sales application. They want to sell smartwatches, and the goal is to set up a web shop as soon as possible with high priority requirements. Okay, now there are 4 requirements listed, and these are PayPal integration, which sounds like a good one. The next one is a link with the stock database, also a good requirement. Homepage chat feature, and user authentication. So let's look at those 4 ones one by one and see it. So we're going to start with PayPal integration. Right, a bit of history beforehand. In Belgium, we did some research. We can see that 98% of people use a credit card and 2% use PayPal. Okay, and out of those 2%, half of them still have a credit card. So let's say 99% can still use a credit card. So the first question, can a client use the website without this requirement? And they can. 99% of the clients actually can use the site and they can buy a watch without this requirement. Okay, so it's not a must have. Good. So we said, yes, the client can use the application without this feature. Next, does this requirement have a big effect on the business case? Not really, because it only affects 2% of our customers, potential customers, and half of those can use a credit card anyway. So it's probably just 1%. So we say no. It's got a very little business value, only affects 2% of the clients, and half of those have credit card. And question 3 is, can this requirement wait, or does it have a low business value? Yes, this requirement can wait and has a very, very low business value. So we will say a priority of this requirement, PayPal integration, is wait. Okay. Then the next one, link with the stock database. So we want to know how many items of watches are in stock. We can give that information to the clients, and so we know how long maybe they have to wait as well. Okay, so the goal is to provide the number of items currently in stock, and we save about 30 minutes administration a day by doing that. Okay, so can a client use the application without this requirement? So they can still view watches, they can buy watches. Sure, they will be able to use the application. Okay, so it's not a must. Then the next question, does this requirement have a big effect on the business case? Okay, well, let's see. The answer is yes, no. Some business value, we save about 30% or 30 minutes support each day, which is a little bit, it's good. It adds up, Then, can this requirement wait and has a low business value? Well, let's say it has a cost of €900 to develop, and we have a good return on investment of 4 months. So it's reasonably okay, but we can still do it manually for now. So it wouldn't be like super high. So we'll put this as could have. Okay, it has a low business value. Great. Then the next one, third one, a homepage chat feature. Okay, we find out that in Belgium, normally on online shopping, 20% of all clients use the online chat feature when they're buying something. Okay, so that's a lot actually. That's very high. Great. So can the client use the application without this requirement? So they can still view watches, they can buy watches? Sure. So it's not a must. Nextly, does this requirement have a big effect on the business case? Okay, will we get a good return on investment? And the answer is yes. It has a very, very high business value. In fact, we will have a return on investment within 3 weeks. Okay, it's because we will be able to sell more watches. We find out maybe that 50% of the people that we talk to over chat buy, and that doubles our sales. Okay, so that's why we have a good return on investment. And the third one, can this requirement wait and has low business value? No, it cannot wait. We think it's a good idea to put that in from the very beginning because it can affect 30% of sales or higher. So we will say priority, it should have. Okay, so far we've had won't have, could have, and it should have. Great. And the next feature, user authentication. Okay, so that's where users need a user ID and password, okay, to get in. So allow users to enter a client user ID and password. So can the client use the application without this requirement? Well, they will be able to view the watches. They will be able to, let's say, to put the watch maybe into a shopping cart, but that's it. We need them to enter their email address and their user ID and their password or to create an account so we can process their information and then be able to give them updates so they can download the invoice later and they can look at the progress of their order. Okay, so no, they will not be able to use the website if we do not have user authentication. So this is really a big requirement. Okay, the project, we cannot deliver the project if we don't have this. So we say the clients cannot buy without this. The shop will not work. So we do need this. Does this requirement have a big effect on the business case? Yes, it does. It has a very, very high business value. So we say then the priority of user authentication is a must. We have to have it. Okay, so a quick summary of all of this. The result is we have 4 requirements. PayPal integration, we won't have, very low priority. Link with the stock database, we could have because we have a return on investment of 4 months, but we can wait for this for now. Homepage chat feature, that's a good idea because it'll help with 30 to 50% of sales. So it's a very, very good idea. We should do that. And user authentication, it's a must-have. Okay, that's definitely something we should do. Otherwise, we will not be able to use, our users will not be able to use the application in the way that we want to. So hopefully you like this explanation of this MoSCoW technique. And if you want, you can actually give maybe 2 or 3 priorities and allow the teams to decide which priority does this have for the project as well. Okay, so bye for now.